Everybody. We're going to learn tomorrow in Parshat BeHaalotcha. I know Maryland, her will learn so tomorrow, I know. But we live on the right side of the ocean, you know that, right? So we're going to learn tomorrow Parshat BeHaalotcha about the journey of Am Yisrael to beginning the journey from the desert into Eretz Yisrael. We're going to read a very unusual dialogue between Moshe Rabbeinu and his father-in-law. The Torah describes the following: "Vayomer Moshe lechovav ben Ruel Hamidyani choten Moshe." Moshe Rabbeinu said to Chovav. It was not clear over here who's the father-in-law, if it's Ruel or Chovav, but we won't go into that. Okay, he said, "Nosim anachnu al hamakom asher amar Adonai." We're traveling to the place that God said that eten lachem. He said, "I'll give it to you," and therefore he invites him to join the journey. L'cha itanu ve'etavnu lach. Please join us. We're going to a good place. Look at his answer. No, I'm not going to join you. Maybe you thought that being a father-in-law, brother-in-law, I'll assume from now on it's a father-in-law, okay? But the truth is I have my own life. I don't want to be too mixed with you. I'm going home. Moshe Rabbeinu then turns to him a second time. Now he changes the tone. He says to him, please don't leave us. He's already begging him. And it would seem that he's begging him because maybe it's not for the good, for the benefit of the father-in-law, as perhaps we could have thought from the first time he approached him. But Moshe needs him. And he explains, because you are familiar with the way we encamp in the desert, and you can be our guide, you can be our eyes. And he invites him, he's asking him to join, and he turns to him and he says, all the good that will happen to us will happen to you too. And we don't hear what his answer is. So now what is behind this dialogue? So as I began, it sounds like a son-in-law just inviting his father-in-law to stay together, to join us. But we really have to try to explore, to understand the tone of the second time he approaches him. And I want to first point out that it's not too clear how to read his request. On the one hand, it seems like it's in the past tense. I'll read to you the psukim. Aken yadata chanotenu bamidbar. Yadata, you knew, that's the past tense. Vayita lanu le'inayim, and you have been our guide. Rashi really brought in his first commentary to this pasuk that it's in the past tense. There Rashi says that since you have seen how we are in the desert, you've seen all the miracles, your eyes have seen the miracles, so you know it's good to join us. But most of the commentators, including Rashi, in a second suggestion of the commentary to this pasuk, say it's in the future tense. You know, in biblical Hebrew, when there's a vav, beginning of the word, it can reverse the tense of the word, meaning v'hayita means you will be our eyes. And Rashi says, I'm reading to you his words, lashon atid, it's in the future tense. Kol davar v'davar she'italem einenu, we will be confused, we won't know what to do. So you will be our eyes, you will be our guide. Tiyeh me'ir einenu, in the words of Rashi. Moshe is turning to his father-in-law for help. I need your guidance. I don't want to be all alone with the burden of leading this journey. When the other commentators who have seen these dialogue in the sense that Moshe needs help, they also explain to us, why did he turn specifically to Yitro for help? Well, why did he think Yitro could help him? So the Rashbam says it goes back, it dialogues with Yitro's advice that he gave to him when he first came to the camp in the desert. And says the Ibn Ezra, the Rashbam, Hayita lanu le'inayim, you have been our eyes, latet lanu etzat tova, you gave us good advice. Kedichtiv, as it says, vayishma Yitro, dugmat einayim hayiti li'ivir. Many times we feel we're blind, we don't know what to do. And when somebody knows what to do, he gives a good piece of advice, he becomes like our eyes. And basically, it would seem, if we listen to this suggestion of the Rashbam, Moshe Rabbeinu needs the wisdom of the elders. their experience, the wisdom that comes from their long years of life. The Ramban points out a different character of Yitro that would cause Moshe Rabbeinu to ask for his guidance. He says, Ki midatcha hamidbar tielanu le'inayim b'kibush ha'aratzot. Ramban here is referring to Yitro living in Midian, which is it's on the border of the desert. And Yitro knew how to get along in the desert. Same way the Bedouins today know how to travel in the desert. They know that they understand how to behave in the desert. And what we would see is that the journey in the desert is very confusing. It's true that Moshe knows what the destination is. We're traveling to Hamakom Asher Amar Hashem Eto Eten Lachem. We're going to the land that God has promised us. But between the point of departure where they are now and that destination, there's a long journey in a very scary desert, which it's full of difficulties and challenges. And Moshe Rabbeinu is hoping that the experience of Yitro, his wisdom can help. His being acquainted with how you get along in the desert could help. But as I mentioned before, we don't know what his answer was. Some even think that he actually joined them. Some think he still refused. But perhaps the Torah didn't tell us his response because the Torah wanted to hint to us in the next pasuk that maybe the journey should get assistance from a totally different place, not from Yitro, but from somebody else. Because what is the next pasuk? The next pasuk is Va'aron Brit Adonai nosea lifnehem derech shloshet yamim latur lahem menucha. The Aaron traveled before them to look for them where to rest for menucha. Now, it doesn't work well in English, but in Hebrew, you can see that the word menucha dialogues with what Moshe turned to Yitro, saying to him, Yadata chanotenu. They both have the same Hebrew root, chet nun he. And what the Torah is hinting that the help that Moshe needs doesn't come perhaps from Yitro, but he should look in a different place in the Aron in the journey. Now, what does this exactly mean that the Aron is there? Look, it's true you need a destination, you need a vision, you need something to aspire for. But the reason that the journey is always very difficult is because we think the journey is not part of the story. We would just hope to get there. We just wonder what's so-called for Chasidish Rebbeim. We're not. Okay, but if we were, Kfitzat HaDerech, just get there. And the Aron being on the journey means that the journey itself has Shechina, meaning the journey itself is part of the story. If we can become friendly with the journey itself, with the road, so then we can experience it differently. I think when the Rashar here, Shimshon Raphael here, very nicely expresses this when he describes the following: what effect, what impact the Aron, the ark, traveling with them make upon Am Yisrael. He says, Mar'eh ha'aron, when they would travel and see the Aron, Kiyem b'libam et ha'ra'ananut, it gave them the ability to feel fresh, simcha, the joy, shalicha acharei Hashem. They realize it's not that I want to get to Eretz Yisrael, but I'm walking with the Kadosh Baruch Hu. When I'm walking with the Kadosh Baruch Hu, so the road itself is fun. You know, when you travel in your car, it's not many times, if you're lucky, you can travel. You can travel with your husband or wife or with a good friend. You can make wonderful conversations. I had a trip this week to my sister in Yerucham, an hour and a half each with my kids. We had wonderful conversations. I mean, even though it's a long journey, not as long as 40 years in the desert, okay, but it's an hour and a half each direction, and all you really want to do is get there. But we enjoyed the road too. That's what it means. You go with our own Brit Hashem, because the journey itself is important. Now, I think I'm not wrong if I would say that many of us feel today like Moshe Rabbeinu, standing in the desert and asking themselves, what do I do with this journey? Because we are now also in some type of a journey, which is to some extent, has some characteristics of the desert experience. The desert is a place where we don't know the rules. It's full of dangers. We don't really know how to protect ourselves, unlike when we're in a civilized area. So over there, we protect ourselves in many ways. And we are now in a time where the world is, to some extent, in a desert. We still, with all the researchers and doctors, which do many wonderful things, but they're still asking themselves, how do they find a vaccination for corona? How do they cure people who are sick? How do we prevent the spread of the virus? And the truth is, we're always used to making journeys with eyes, meaning understanding the rules, knowing how to behave, learning from the past. That's how science really learns how to behave today, analyzing, understanding the current situation, and how much we would have really wanted to have like a type of Waze. Waze is like a type of eyes. It helps us go on the journey. But the truth is, the experience of traveling with Waze is like anti-journey, because Waze assumes that it will choose for you the shortest possible route to the destination, because they think you're not interested in the route, you're only interested in the destination. All you want to do is get there as quick as possible. But we are now on a journey that perhaps we all strive, we have some destination we want to get to. All of us want to get back to normal life. People should be healthy and functioning and living a meaningful life. But yes, we are now in some desert. We are in some journey, and we are really confused. On the one hand, things got better, and it seemed like that the spread of the virus is like being stopped, and we've discussed it here in the past. And therefore, they let people go out of their homes. The schools got back, open shops, etc. You all know, but it suddenly became more complicated than we thought. We thought that's it, it's over, right? Some people made like a party that's over, but it's not over. Suddenly we see an outburst in some schools, in different cities. The numbers are worrying again. We look at those who make policies, and I think rightfully so, we're asking ourselves, do they know what they're doing? Are they doing the right thing? It's not only not really knowing how to fight disease, but do they have the right perspective for the broad picture? And basically, I think all of us are asking ourselves not only about the policies, but how do we make this journey? I hear people saying, how long can you go with a mask? I'll tell you the truth, as long as you have to. The question is, what do you have to? That's the real question. The question is not how much strength I will have. The question is, do I realize what's the cause? Do I understand what's behind it? But we are still in a time of journey. And what I really wish upon all ourselves, that the journey itself should be meaningful, that the journey should be with values, that the people who make the policies should have a broad perspective, on a balance between the danger and between the way you're supposed to live, and realizing that we have to allow people to make a living and not to stop the economy. On the other hand, to cherish lives and to see what's the right way to do it. That's to go within our own symbolizes values. I wish upon ourselves that we should make the journey in a way that we are responsible, that we learn how to make the right balance. And on the one hand, try to return as much as we can our lives to meaningful things we want to do and we think they're important to do, but continue being careful not to lose our patience. And also that this journey really forces us to relearn many things about our lives. So let's learn the lesson. Each time we can do something new, ask ourselves, what's important for me? Do I really want it? How should I do it? We should not be like the next episode in Parshat Shavua of the Mit Onanim, of the people who have lost their patience. We should, Bezrat Hashem, feel that we have a good destination in our own Brit Hashem that goes in front of our camp. And I want to wish everybody to be well, to be healthy. Gesundheit, everybody, okay? And I want to wish you all Shabbat Shalom.